All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. For the most part, I'm your typical feminist April, liberal Bendite. I have a garage full of gear. I go to book club every month. I listen to OPB. I rode my bike here. But I have a dirty little secret. I'm a forester. And I hang out with sawmill operators, loggers, and others of that ilk. And to you, that might seem like a total blowout of the stereotype or ironic or not fitting the mold, but to me it makes perfect sense. You know that feeling now when your tomatoes are finally getting ripe, that garden that you've cultivated all summer and now you're harvesting? That's how a lot of us feel when we get to harvest a forest that's been tended for 1, 2, or 3 generations. I love my tree farmers. How did a wildlife biologist, hippie, tropical worker become a forestry advocate? I'd like to think that it's the same way that Patrick Moore did, who's a former founder of Greenpeace and now a huge advocate of okay, don't freak out. These are graphs. I'm an academic. I couldn't help myself. Top graph, harvest has gone down in Oregon over the years. Bottom graph, consumption, the top line has gone. Where's our wood coming from? Oh, boreal and tropical forests. Places like Sierra de las Minas, Guatemala, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer. Places with really thin soil, monsoon seasons, and unstable politics that lead to over-harvesting, monsoon, rainfall, mudslides, and the like. In Oregon, we have amazing soils. You can get trees that are 50 years old and 140 feet tall in the Coast Range. We have regulation. We have kind of stable politics. We can do sustainable forestry here, and I would argue that ethically we should be doing sustainable forestry here. Now, I'm going to use the C word, and not in the feminist sense, but in the forestry sense. Don't be scared. Next time you see one along the side of the road, pull over, walk into a clear cut. Okay, you're all going to become foresters in 15 seconds. Trees work like carrots. They get really close together, they start growing up, they start competing for light and nutrients. You can thin them yourself, or they'll thin themselves out. They keep growing, and the cycle continues and continues. Now you're a forester. There's no right way to do forestry, though. In New England, you pick one hickory here, one ash there, one cherry here. Here in Central Oregon, we do ponderosa pine thinning. In the Coast Range, we have 18% slopes, rain, and thin bark trees. You clear cut. Here's the cool thing about clear cuts. As a wildlife biologist, I know that we have more forested acres now than we did 300 years ago, and I also know that 50% of neotropical migrants need grass and ground shrub nesting to succeed. Also, our tomatoes, do we ask our tomato growers to do one tomato plant here, one tomato plant there, one tomato, whoa, I have a microphone issue. Clear cutting's efficient. It allows people to make a living. And I know you don't trust forestry, and part of that is forestry's fault. But Oregon has Oregon Forest Protection Laws, which you can download online, the illustrated manual, or email me, and I will give you a copy. And that regulates how large things need to be. Anyway, we can talk about that later. Here's my point. People don't like to see big trees cut down, but sometimes if you want to get super huge trees, you got to cut down some kind of big trees. It's the whole carrot thing again. And if I were a long-eared myotis and I had forest policy power, I would say, thin those trees. I need bigger trees so that I can roost between, once they die, I can roost between the bark and the bole of that tree. And around here, most of us get the idea that we thin forests so that they're fire and pest resilient, right? Well, sometimes that's expensive. Costs about $500 to $1,000 an acre. And so taking some big trees helps pay for that. And I also want you to know that loggers are people. They're not evil. This is Jim Curran, and I just visited him at Sawmill in Bandon. And he knows where every single log came from on his at that yard. And some of you might be looking for certified wood because that's a way to gain trust, right? You're getting certified wood. That's, you can certify eucalyptus plantations in Chile. So it has some plus and minuses, just like the whole certified organic thing. But the cool thing is that in Oregon, we have a billion more options. We have the Oregon Woodland and Cooperative. I myself am saving up my pennies. I'm going to get a maple hardwood floor from Sarah Doimling, who is the woman in the green hoodie. And I'm going to go down. I'm going to pick out my own trees, and she's going to make me flooring, and it's going to be amazing. 5 minutes isn't enough. Get out there. Sawmills are open to the public. There's public forestry tours in Oregon all the time, all over the state. Email me. I'll put on a tour right here. We can continue this conversation outside. Okay? Thanks.